Hey guys, today I've got a really inspiring case study of someone in our community who has managed to do something pretty remarkable. She's saved £100,000 on her journey towards one day becoming financially independent. I thought I'd feature this particular case study because it's so relatable. I'm going to be reacting to the various points that Jenny has shared on what was originally a blog post, guest post submission on our website over at The Humble Penny. If you've not been reading our blog posts, there's so many resources over there. I'll link to it below and above for you to feel free to go and check it out in your own time. But what I thought I'd do today is actually share with you guys the tips she shared with us. Because a lot of people at the moment are struggling to save money, obviously tied to high inflation, cost of living, challenges, and so on. But I thought this was relatable because it has not happened overnight. It's taken some time to get to a place where she's saved a remarkable amount of £100,000. And the tips she has shared, I'm going to be reacting to so that you can learn from it, I can learn from it, and we can all learn from it and help us on our wealth building journey. All right, let's dive straight in. So here we go. So Jenny showed up. Jenny's, at the time she submitted this case study to us, Jenny was 38 years old. Okay, so I'm going to read and react. And you guys, if you're really enjoying today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button because that really helps to get our message out to so many more people. And if you really like the vibe from this video as well, hit the like button as you watch. And as I read out the various tips, please jump in the comments and react as well. So here we go, how to save money and the various tips. She says, when I first started on my journey to financial independence, 100K seemed like a lofty milestone on the way to a frankly unfathomable goal of my ultimate fire number. Recently, I hit that milestone and wow, the supportive response that I received from the FI community was overwhelming. Whilst it's been a long journey, I hadn't fully appreciated the multiple baby steps I'd taken to get to this point and really accelerate my goal. Although I've been saving for my retirement since my first pension contribution at 23 years old, in truth, my journey to FI only formally started 10 months ago. So Jenny, in case I didn't mention earlier, actually was 38 years old when she submitted this case and she started saving, at the age of 23, as she mentioned before, in her first pension. Okay. Prior to that, I didn't even know about the concept of financial independence. I've taken some time to reflect on the steps which have helped me towards FI, although I have quite some way to go. Hitting 100K in savings makes this more real than ever before. And I agree. And by the way, this video is part one because part two, I'm going to be sharing with you guys why that £100,000 number is a magical number for building momentum when it comes to your wealth. So watch out for that video next week. And that's an investing focused video, but tied to this 100K number. Okay. All right. Here are the tips. Here are the exact tips and hacks that got me to where I am today with £100,000 saved, she says. Tip number one, decluttering. She says, it's not until you declutter that you really see just how much stuff you have accumulated. My mission to streamline initially started as a way to simplify life, i.e. not needing to tidy as much in an attempt to reduce the need for extra storage space for stuff. Decluttering prevents you from buying more things which you already have, especially if you employ the Marie Kondo method, putting all things from one category in one place and starting your sorting and decluttering from there. Most of us, she says, have the tendencies to repeat buy. Can you relate to that? If you can actually relate to this point on repeat buying, jump in the comments and let us know. She says, most of us tend to repeat buy certain things, whether it's toiletries, certain clothing, cleaning products, or food. Then she says, it's a key point, it's surprising just how many duplicates you can find when you put all things of one category in one place. This helped me to use up each item before needing to buy more and therefore save money. This is a brilliant tip. If you can relate to that tip, jump in the comments and let us know. I can relate because we definitely, Mary and I definitely have those periods where on our journey, we've bought things that we haven't actually needed because we didn't know we already had it in terms of food stuff and that kind of thing. You might buy baked beans and you don't realize that you've put it somewhere else and you thought you didn't have it and you went and bought some more and so on. So the point she's making here is actually a pretty valid point, and it stops you putting your money into things that you don't need yet, like food stuff, instead of leaving that money working for you. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is minimalism. I watched a minimalist Netflix film. They focus on living with less, she says. This was both countercultural and inspirational. In our society of consumerism, it was really exciting to see, though quite an extreme version, people selling everything. Doing so released them from the trappings of consumer debt and enriched their lives through travel and experiences in the process, she says. Whilst I'm not in any way about to sell all my stuff and live out of a rucksack, it changed my perspective considerably. And I agree, because when I saw that minimalist documentary as well, it really did something for me. And this is tied to that initial point earlier on decluttering. Yeah, it really did something for me. And even today, we're still going. I actually went to the local tip. I'm still going through that process of decluttering, taking stuff away, and doing it little by little. Yeah, so this minimalist documentary is actually a really good complement to that. She says, I used to get swept up in the latest crazes for clothes, tech, etc. Now I'm perfectly content with what I have and have no desire to surround myself with material things to make me feel happy. Do you know what? On a practical level, one thing I've done actually thinking about this is the way in which I've arranged my clothing. So I, for example, like blacks and, some whites and so on. So arranging my clothing in the different colors kind of helps me visually see how much of each thing I've got. And I can kind of get rid of stuff I don't need, only really keeping things that that I actually use or I've used in the last 6 months, thereby just helping me save money and not needing to buy unnecessary items. Yeah. All right, tip 3, she says, make do and mend. When what I have eventually breaks or wears, I love to find a way to get it fixed. I'm going to ask you guys, right? When last did you actually fix anything that has been broken, and what was it? Jump in the comments and let us know. I kind of want to know what you've done. What have you actually fixed lately? Yeah, jump in the comments and let us know. She says, not so long ago, we had a society which was proud to make, do, and mend. And even more importantly, people had the skills to fix things. These days, fewer and fewer people can sew, for example. It's here that I admit that I'm one of them, but I'm fortunate enough to have a very crafty mum who does all my repairs. However, I'm acutely aware of the fact that I need to learn. And I love this. She's not like pointing fingers. She's going to go like, look, I'm like you guys. I kind of feel like I need to learn certain skills to start to fix things around the home rather than to have to buy new things and replace all the time. She says, frustratingly with many items, such as tech, it's often more expensive to fix them than to replace them. And this makes sense. That said, I found a local guy to fix my Dyson vacuum, which is 12 years old already, and my Kenwood food processor, well over 20 years old. What? As well as give me another year's use on a pretty old mobile phone. This is brilliant. And this is the key point, another point. She says, so the help is out there if you can find it. And it is well worth sourcing to not only save money, but also the environment. As we all know, the environment is a huge topic. And we should all care about this topic and the little things we do, which is the point I hope we take away from this particular video. It's the little things we do cumulatively make a huge difference, either for the better or for the worse. Okay? Tip number 4, buying second hand. So she says, if all fails and something must be bought, second hand is my preferred and usually my only method. I have saved an absolute fortune on high-ticket items like a mobile phone, high-end sports leggings, trainers, headphones, and dresses, she says, simply by setting up a watch list on eBay and having a predetermined top end of my budget. I love this perspective on having a predetermined top end of the budget, because then you're not like getting out there and just bidding unintentional, just bidding because like, other people are outbidding you and you don't have like a cutoff to stop on. So I think this is actually a really good tip. She says, I always start looking long before I need an item so that I don't fall prey to high prices due to urgency or demand. Yeah, we've all been there, right? I bagged as new £120 trainers for £15, a dress worth £90 new for £20, and a £500 phone for £350, she says. Facebook Marketplace has proven to be an absolutely invaluable tool, invaluable both for super cheap purchases and during the decluttering phase. In fact, I'd add to Facebook Marketplace eBay. I've been doing a lot of eBay stuff lately. In fact, right as we speak, I'm looking at our garden furniture, which is we're selling at the moment, as well as a lot of childcare related stuff that when we had our children much younger. So we're going through that phase of decluttering and using these marketplaces as a place to get rid of stuff and get some money as well, or donate them to people who may need them if you need to. Tip number 5, knowing your numbers. She said, after I read the book, Your Money or Your Life. I thought I had that book. Here you go. Yes, I do have it here. Here we go. After I read the book, Your Money or Your Life, I understood the need to know my numbers. This is a brilliant book, okay? She says, to truly know how much I was being paid per hour, net of all expenses, how much my expenses were costing me, and how to manage them. Working out how much I have earned in my whole working life was a true eye-opener. In fact, we made a video recently about this. I'll link to it below and above. And I was asking you guys, how much do you think you've earned in your entire working life? Have you ever actually worked it out, and how much of it have you actually kept? And where is that money? Yeah, is it in assets or is it in things? Yeah, this is such a really, really interesting question to ponder on. Yeah, she says it helps to bring into focus the realization that I could attract larger amounts of money into my life. So having that almost zoom out and looking at, wow, what have I earned on my journey and how has that earning changed over time, helped her mindset, okay? Then she says, plus it shone a light on the fact that I had earned a significant amount of money but didn't have an awful lot to show for it. I had to nail down regular expenses and maximize on savings available on these expenses. Haggling with insurance and energy companies meant that I could ensure that I was getting the best deals available and not spending money unnecessarily. Again, it comes back to that key point, which I'm trying to really get across, and which Jen is trying to help us get across, which is it's about the small things, people. It's about those small things, because these things then build that momentum and compound over time, okay? All right, tip 6 is mortgage overpayments. In truth, this was one of my first forays into expense management, she says. Wanting to be mortgage free as soon as possible was my driver from the moment I got the mortgage. Having been consumer debt free for several years, she says, this debt, although a legitimate non-consumer debt, felt uncomfortable all the time. And it's interesting, we asked you guys recently on our communities tab on YouTube, and by the way, thank you all for always engaging on the communities tab. It really, really shows the love and the vibes we have as a community. I really love it. And a lot of you guys, we asked you guys, what would you do if you won £1 million or $1 million? For a lot of you guys, in fact, the majority of you guys said you would pay off all of your debts, including your mortgage, for example. So debt remains a big priority for a lot of people. Jenny goes on to say, since getting the mortgage, I have paid the maximum overpayment amount and have managed to reduce the term from 25 years to 9 years. Wow. If you've not seen our video on how we paid off our mortgage in 7 years, I'll link to that video below and above for you to go and check it out and learn the tips for what to do. She then says, the mortgage is our largest expense each month, so once this is paid off, I can make larger investments into my stocks and shares ISA and SIP. Notice she is not only overpaying her mortgage, she is doing a bit of all of those 3 options. She's overpaying on her mortgage, she's still investing in the stock market, and then there's also a SIP, a pension, okay? Okay, now tip 7 says maxing out my current account. Read any FI books and they will tell you that you need to have an emergency fund. Whilst I do agree that liquidity, i.e. easy access to cash in the face of emergency, is important, for me it was more about the mindset than having the physical funds available, she says. Having that money immediately available meant that I was not acting with a scarcity mindset. Wow! There's a big difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. Again, we've made a detailed video about this. If you've not seen it, it's a must watch. Very practical. I'll link to it below and above. Please go and check it out. She says, i.e. I could make sensible decisions about where I wanted to invest the money, which was in addition to my funds. She says, I found that having this money sat in my current account was the best for me with a 5% interest rate on credit balances. This is what she was getting at the time. It made sense to leave it there rather than tie it up somewhere. And with that kind of return, I found that hard to beat placing anywhere else. Okay. So for you, the point here is, find the best place for your money, particularly if it's money you want access to. We've made a video again about where to invest your emergency fund. Again, if you've not seen that, I'll link below, I'll link above. Please go and watch it in your own time. Tip 8, travel hacking. I love this one so much. A recent development in my FI journey is hacking, specifically travel hacking. I took out an American Express Gold card and have been putting my usual daily expenses on there and clearing it every month in full. Top tip, make sure you do that. Set up a direct debit. Amex provides generous British Airways air miles for every £1 spent. So I'm looking forward to using these for our annual holiday and saving on the fare. Okay, I'll link below actually and above to the card we actually use because we do exactly the same thing. And we've made videos about this kind of stuff previously as well. So again, I will link to those details for you to go and check them out. But this stuff has definitely changed our travel experience, saved us thousands of pounds, as well as giving us access to business class travel experience, which to be honest, we would never have paid for because it's ordinarily way too expensive. Tip 9, she says, cutting expenses and budgeting. Once I knew my numbers, it empowered me to look for ways to get more for my money. I started to shop in a local low-waste shop and they order my staple foods for me in bulk. Lentils, beans, nuts, seeds, tinned foods, oats and cleaning products. We now get our fruit and veg delivered to our door weekly from a local organic farm. Wow! Do you know what I love about this? It's just the intentionality of Jenny. I just love her intentionality because it's clear that she's not only trying to win with her money, but she's trying to win with her health. Okay? So here she's doing organic, so she cares about, she's doing locality, she cares about the local environment, and she's doing with organic products because she cares about the quality of what she puts into her body. Yeah, which is very important. Even though I know it's more expensive, but sometimes you really want to focus on quality over just something that's cheap. So I think that's actually a very important point. She says, buying food in this way helps to reduce those impulse purchases at the supermarket. Again, drumming down that point about behavior, okay? You want to manage the behavior because it's really, this personal finance stuff and this wealth building stuff is majority behavior led rather than just knowledge and tips, okay? She says it saves time. It also saves on time, travel to and from the supermarket and time doing the shopping as well as fuel, okay? Mary and I have made a video previously and we need to do an update on that. I know you guys have asked for this, but feel free to watch that previous video if you have the time on how we used to live well on a £50 budget, but that's definitely gone up since cost of living crisis. I think something like £65–70 now per week, which is still quite good. Anyway, tip 10 is side hustles. Although my business didn't start out with the intention of being a side hustle even, she says it developed through a passion for nutrition, and helping people. I love this so much. Inadvertently, it has been another key factor in my journey to reaching 100K. We talk about this side hustle journey so much on The Humble Penny. Whether you're reading our blogs or watching our videos or following us on Instagram, We talk about this a lot. Here's what she says. I have been investing all income from the business into my savings for retirement, and this has certainly proved to be a welcome boost. So starting a side hustle and making that thing work for you, being diligent to make it profitable, does pay and accelerates your journey towards that 100K. And don't forget, I'm making a video next, and I'll link to it when I've made it, on the reason why 100K matters when it comes to investing. You don't want to miss that video. Watch out for it here on our channel next week. And the final tip, she says, is taking back control of my pension and savings. Now, this made me, I thought, wow, this is so interesting. She says, I used to think that you needed to have a financial advisor to have a personal pension. Wow. Who else actually thinks they need that? And this is not like, I'm not pointing fingers. I just want to know, because this is actually very, very insightful. Yeah? Because it means that not enough is being done out there to empower people to begin their own pensions and, that kind of stuff. Yeah? So she says, unfortunately, a few years ago, I fell into the trap of letting a financial advisor open and run my pension pot. Whilst I was still contributing to my company pension, I recognized that it was predominantly invested in UK property. So it was both underperforming and not particularly diversified. I asked the financial advisor to set up the pension so I could make annual transfers from my company pension, which is a smart move. However, I wasn't aware that this was costing me a lot in fees to the financial advisor every year, taken directly from the sale of my investments. You've got to watch those fees. Okay? Some people do need financial advisors, particularly if you've got complex financial matters in your life. However, you've got to watch those fees, because those fees are what essentially eat away at your wealth building. Then she says, once I had mustered up the knowledge to work out how much I was losing in fees each year, I had the confidence to open my own SIP, which is a self-invested personal pension. I've reaped the rewards as the fees now remain safely in my account, ka-ching, and make a positive impact on the growth of my pot rather than my financial advisors. A couple of other areas I've decided to invest in were a lifetime ISA and a stocks and shares ISA. Okay, all three of these accounts were only opened on the tail end of 2018 for her. I found it incredibly motivational to see the impact that the government's 25% lifetime ISA bonus makes on the balance, and so have been motivated to fill this allowance for the year. Again, we've made lifetime ISA content previously and even talked about some of the best providers. I'll link to some of those bits of resources for you below and above. Go and check it out in your own time. Again, so you can get started if you've not already. She says, managing both my SIP and ISA through Interactive Investor and Vanguard, respectively, has been beneficial to my increased contributions. I'm able to see the impact of the deposit pretty much instantly. In conclusion, the journey to my 100K has been a mixture, this is the key thing, of steep learning curve and a change of lifestyle. Investing in my personal development and improving my mindset has played a huge role too. One particularly important factor has been the focus on not just ways to save money, but also increasing my income. Wow, we talk about this a great deal on this channel. It's not just about saving, because there's only so much you can save from your current earnings. She says, there's only so much one can save from the income they make. To hit 100K faster, the focus has to be on making more money whilst living a simple lifestyle. So none of that lifestyle creep stuff. Don't make more money and then increase your expenses. That's just not being very sensible. Yeah. It's about keeping that lifestyle simple and doing everything possible to increase your income. Okay. More than anything else, hitting this milestone has taught me that I really can achieve the goals that I put my mind to. My financial independence has never felt so close, and I'm excited about my next 100K milestone. Look, I just want to say, Jenny, this is such a brilliant case study, and I hope it has inspired you, our viewers, that this is something that you can achieve on your own journey as well. Jenny started at the age of 23 and she, hit that milestone at the age of 38 with diligent saving and developing herself, growing her income and building her wealth. And of course, that will then begin to snowball, on the back of compounding, which I'll be illustrating to you guys on our video next week. If this has really inspired you, jump in the comments, react, let me know what tips or which of those tips I shared really hit home for you and which of them will you be implementing. If you really enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications so that you know when we publish more videos just like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And as always, in all things, be thankful people and seek joy. Take care and bye for now.